They're not very macho dogs, but I just like poodles.
Evan Davis is new to living as a man, and even newer to being a mentor to 15-year-old Chris. But he still feels secure enough in his masculinity to have white poodles as pets. Even Chris's Aunt Kathy, who continues to refer to Chris as Julia, thinks Evan has been a good influence.
Evan went through everything himself and, had to go through all the trials and tribulations. Whatever negative things he came across, I think he can teach Julia, how to overcome them, how to deal with the situation.
I think Evan is just trying to teach me how to be a good person.
Not that I'm teaching him as much as I'm setting an example so that he can just kind of
follow in your footsteps.
Observe, just observe and sort of absorb it as time goes by. It's not like I'm sitting him down and teaching him. Wait for the wind to stop.
And they have fun, too. As the saying goes, boys will be boys.
I like to play PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Yeah,
Frisbee.
Frisbee?
Catch.
Yeah, catch.
Ride bikes.
We ride bikes. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun doing it with Evan. Evan always makes everything funner.
Funner?
Another word. It's more fun.
Right.
Let's go!
But it wasn't all fun and games. Evan might have become like a parent to Chris, but Chris still had a biological father, Fernando, in Italy. And in the summer of 2006, Fernando came for a visit. They hadn't seen each other in almost 8 years, but instead of looking forward to the visit, Chris was on edge.
The fact that he wasn't, totally accepting, that made me nervous.
Fernando cried with happiness at seeing his youngest son, Brendan.
He had never seen my brother. We had left before my brother was even born. So he got very emotional at meeting what he had considered his only son.
But there were no tears of joy when Fernando saw his oldest daughter as a boy. Fernando did not hide his disapproval, and spending time with Chris only increased the tension.
After a few days of being here, the next thing I hear is Chris's dad saying, you were born a girl and God made you a girl and God wants you to be a girl and you should be a girl. I think it really affected him.
She wouldn't stand next to him. She wouldn't stay in the room with him unless other people were there. She wanted nothing to do with them. I mean, he made clear how he felt about her.
Yeah. It is a very big disappointment to, have your own father say, I don't accept you for this.
Such rejection can be crushing for any kid. But Chris still hoped that his father would come around and accept him as a boy. A few months later, Fernando again returned from Italy to appear on a Tyra Banks show that was devoted to transgender issues. In front of a national audience, Chris made his appeal.
If you want me to be happy, then you should accept me for who I am and not who you want me to be.
If you'd like for me to be happy, I would be thrilled that you'd become Julie again.
That was it for Chris. The chance of a meaningful relationship with his father was over.
I've lived 8 years without him, so, I can live the rest of my life.
Chris has not seen his father since. Fernando declined our request to fly him in for another reunion or to be interviewed in Italy. But Chris has long seemed to have moved on, partly with the help of his mentor, Evan.
I think that Evan will be my dad, just be there for me and support me.
That support was greatly needed when Chris started at high school in the fall of 2007. The new school would include kids from his elementary class, kids that knew Chris as Julia. Everybody braced themselves for the jeering and taunting that might come Chris's way.
I guess I was a little bit concerned because I knew he was going to be with kids who he had been with before he transitioned.
I was very nervous about, who might call me my old name, who would tell other people, if maybe people had seen me on the Tyra Banks show.
And of course, somebody did recognize him, Katie, his childhood friend.
I think it was the third day of school he transferred into my English class, so that's when I saw him again. I don't know if I should bring it up or if I shouldn't say anything. A lot of people talked about it, but I'd say that more people were just indifferent to it. A lot of people were just like, whatever about it.
We just became friends.
Acceptance as a friend is one thing, but dating is a much more complex question for Katie.
I honestly don't know if I would ever date a transgender. I don't think I wouldn't. I'm not going to say that I definitely would not.
It would be very hard in high school to find someone that would be okay with that then in turn isn't a lesbian. So then you're back to, so I don't know, it's confusing. I would think that she probably wouldn't be able to have a dating relationship until she's an adult and can speak to someone like an adult would.
That is an issue, the whole dating, like, do you tell them? When do you tell them? How do you tell them?
Always use a condom. Right, though. Good fatherly advice.
Evan may be new to giving out dating tips, but at 53 years old, he too had big plans for romance. The question was, could he find a woman who would accept him as he is?
He said, I'm just a regular guy. He said, I just want to find somebody to love and get married and have children. I felt bad. I wondered how that would ever happen for him.
Coming up, the search for happiness. Nobody could believe what happened next.
It was also surprising. I don't know that you could say one thing was more surprising than the other.
Just never had an idea that it would go anywhere from there. Just was a surprise, I guess you would